How is it possible that one of the greatest rappers of all time could put out a mediocre piece of work? Eminem, Revival, and what's the main reason? It's just not that good.
Indy Jones, back with a trendy flow. I'm still trying to find my voice in this here scenario. Here we go.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Ruslan, hip-hop, spoken word, artist, creative entrepreneur. This channel exists to encourage, inspire, empower other creatives and entrepreneurs to go after their dreams and all that good stuff. Thank you for checking us out. On this video, I want to get into this Eminem album. First of all, I tweeted earlier, you know, sat with the album and the instant feedback on Twitter was like, it's trash. Somebody called it dookie water. I was like, yo, this is kind of harsh. Now, I sat with the album. I skimmed through it the night it came out. I sat with it today, drove around to it today. And first of all, it's not that bad of an album. I think what it is Eminem is revered to be such a great artist that we kind of grade it more harshly. And if we're grading it on a curve, you know, he's usually a very well-rounded lyricist, and he's made some great records in the past. And so we kind of grade it we hold him to a higher standard. Now, this record was not my favorite Eminem album. I think he's made a lot of really good albums early on, but I don't think it was that bad of a record. Things I liked about the record, I could ride through the record. The transition's very smooth. There's moments that he's personal, like on songs like Castle, like songs like A Rose, songs like Bad Husband, that I think when he's speaking his truth and he's sharing his heart and he's pouring all of himself out, I think it's really refreshing and dope. And then what I didn't like about the album is I think it's too long. 18 songs, that's a lot to sit through. Two, I think it has too many like weird features, and the songs, a lot of the content is cool and it's personal and it's grown up, but he just always, you know, he's always trying to go after this pop angle. And 10 years ago, I could understand it. You need a big radio smash, pop megastar, Eminem, I get it. Nowadays, you don't really need the pop radio single. So, you know, the song with Pink, it felt like a Pink song, and Eminem was the afterthought on it. I didn't understand why that song. Walk on Water, I thought Beyonce killed it. I love the idea. I just thought it was poorly executed on his part with the real awkward raps to the beat. Da, da, da. Very stiff flow. The second single, I don't remember what it was called. It was just not memorable. Wasn't really good. I appreciated the concept. I'm all for white hip-hop artists such as myself using our platform and our privilege to speak up about social issues. I think that's dope, but I think there's a way to do it that's tasteful and a way to do it that's beneficial and stirs up conversation, and I don't really feel like he pulled that off. Now, those are the things I didn't like about the album. Eminem has made bad albums in the past, if we're gonna be honest. He's made several of them. And I think it's this tension he feels to try to be a mega pop star, while remaining a core lyricist. And you can't take away that he's an amazing wordsmith, amazing lyricist. I was watching Everyday Struggle, and Joe Budden went in.
This is one of the worst songs I've ever heard. I love M, and M is one of the greatest rappers to ever live. This is the first time in my life that I feel like the ball is being dropped on Eminem. So for this to look like this, I'm putting this on somebody in his team, because this is disgraceful. This is disgraceful. I hate it. I hate it. Change this fucking cover. Change the tone of this album. Change all this. I ain't heard from you in 4 fucking years. I want to hear from you.
Yeah, hold on. I think I gotta agree with him on that. Here's the main reason why I think this was not a good album and what we can all take away from it. Once you build yourself up and your creativity and your fame up to a certain level, you tend to isolate yourself. You tend to think that you have it all figured out. And some of us do this on a very amateur level, but you create from a place of isolation and not from a place of community, not from a place of having your hand on the pulse of what's going on in culture. And we've seen several artists do this. I think J. Cole did this on his last record. I don't think that was a very good album, the For Your Eyes Only record. When you're checked out of culture and you don't have a team around you that's engaged creatively with what's going on, you could start to make music that feels dated. You could start to make music that's poorly executed, cool idea, but like him doing the big rock remakes and the Alanis Morissette sample, it's just not good. Like it's not, I don't know if that's his taste. And also having guys like Rick Rubin, produce a lot of the records, like you're gonna get a dated sound. Even though Rick Rubin's a genius and he's done amazing things, you're gonna get a dated sound because you're dealing with somebody that's in his 50s or 60s producing records for you. One of the ways I think great artists have always been able to transcend themselves and recreate themselves is by keeping people around them that are involved in the creative process, involved in even some of the writing. Like if Eminem had some younger, newer rappers around him, they could walk him through like, hey man, you're trying to do this spoken word flow on Walking on Water. Loosen the flow up a little bit. You don't want to land early and on top of the beat. You want to fall slightly behind the beat. You got these pianos. Be a little smoother with it. If Eminem had writers around him that didn't necessarily write his lyrics, but just he could bounce off some of the weird punchlines and predictable punchlines off of constructive, productive community and creativity that can really benefit all of us. And that's something that I've been trying to apply as I'm finishing Indie Jones 2. I've had the benefit of having guys like Ray Rock around, having guys like Zach Sparazzo, John Keith, Belief was in the studio with me. Guys that I could bounce ideas off of, the guys that'll tell me, hey man, like I think you need to rewrite this, I think this is whack. Guys I could send hooks to that will create a more commercially sounding hook, but that's still reflective of myself. On Indie Jones 1 and Americana, man, I benefited so much from having guys like Foggy Raw around that would just give me permission, like, yo, you don't need a hook for every song. Just rap, like make the rap so memorable that you don't need a hook for it. And I was like, man, that's so refreshing. And so I think surrounding yourself around talented people, creative people, young people, if you're an artist, is crucial, and allowing people come in the process. Here's an example of two other artists I would put in a similar category as Eminem. First one I think of is Kanye. Now Kanye, you could think whatever you want, but Kanye's consistently done an amazing job of reinventing himself. He came in with 3 classic albums, then he totally went left and did 808s and Heartbreak. He had Kid Cudi super involved in that. He had T-Pain involved in that. They were the young guys at the time who had their hand on the pulse, right? Then he evolved and he did Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. He had guys like Pusha T in the mix. He had guys like Farnsworth Bentley in the mix, people helping him write. He did the Yeezus thing, went and got Rick Rubin for some of the Yeezus record that was intentionally an abstract countercultural record. The Life of Pablo, incorporating guys like Designer, just having a hand on culture and having a hand on where music is going. And writing in a way where I don't think people were writing and penning Kanye an entire verse and handing it to him. I think people are giving him lines and giving him ideas and sparking different ways to say different things and make things entertaining and palatable. And so I think he's able to reinvent himself, and we don't view it as, my buddy on Twitter said, dookie water, quote unquote. Life of Pablo I think was a dope record. I like Yeezus. Jay-Z is another example. Now with Jay-Z, I think he did something interesting. First of all, Jay-Z worked with No ID, who's a great producer. I think there's something special when you just work with one producer. They were bouncing off playlists, songs that Jay-Z was inspired by. No ID crafted beats around them. I thought that was super dope. Also, Jay-Z brought a bunch of people in the studio and documented the process of some of the concepts, talking about therapy, marriage, being black in America, all these different things. There's this behind the scenes footage that was put on Tidal with Chris Rock and all these different celebrities talking about their marital struggles and, cheating and all these different things and overcoming it or not overcoming it, losing your family, gaining your family. He allowed other people in the process, and maybe there weren't people there he was bouncing lines off of, but there was enough community around the record and around the concept of the record that it felt refreshing, it felt new, it felt different, even though Jay-Z's 50. Another thing that Jay-Z did is he went completely super duper, no radio, I don't care about pop radio, I'm doing me and I'm making the music I want to make. And I think if Eminem would have made the album he wanted to make, not the album Interscope wanted from him, not the album Paul and Shady Records wanted from him, the album he wanted to make, I think if he would have done that, and we could have took this Revival album and cut it to 10 songs, 10 just the best songs that are most personal, throw out all the commercial pop mumbo jumbo stuff this stuff is probably gonna work on radio if we're honest, right? But the stuff that he wanted to make, if he would have came out with a single like Framed, with a single like Offended, and just him, bars, rapping, creative stuff, the beat flipping, and it was just him, I think this would be a different story. I think it would have been a different narrative. But the number one takeaway I think everybody can take from this man is create from a place of community and not from a place of isolation. Even if you're more introverted, find people, safe people that could pull something out of you. Maybe it's over the internet, FaceTime if you're not in proximity with people, but lean into community and don't make music out of isolation. Some of us can do that when we're young, and I think a guy like Russ kind of pulls it off now. He's a young dude and he's making music that he's producing, mixing, and mastering. But I would even say some of his stuff is, the quality level is kind of suspect of the overall project, even though he's an amazing talent. If he had incorporated more voices, more collaborators, mixers, producers, mastering engineers, all these different people, man, to make a great record. There's multiple people involved in the process. So that's what I think about the record, and that's the takeaway. I'm trying not to do as many of these like review videos unless I could add value to you, and hopefully that adds some tangible value to you guys. Is the main reason this was not a good record, and I don't think it was that bad of a record, but it wasn't a great record, is because he created it from a place of isolation. He created a place of solitude, and kind of seems like a lonely dude, if I'm gonna be honest. So what do you guys think? Did you guys like the Eminem record? Honestly, let me know. What were your favorite songs? And how do you do in this creative process? If you're an artist, if you're a producer, designer, cinematographer, do you have safe people that can tell you the truth while encouraging you to do better with your creative process to ultimately elevate your art, and it coming from a place of community and not a place of isolation? Leave that in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend, tell a friend. Indie Jones 2 is coming very soon. We're gonna be announcing the release date, track list, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for checking out this channel, man. I really appreciate y'all. For real, for real.
Oh, here's the new beginnings. Here's the new beginnings. The pull up so independent. We pull up so independent. They say we too down for the victory. Way too down for the victory. I told them the past is the history. We could essentially move as we letting it.